Thank you. The verse number 7, the 5 properties are cognized by the 5 sense organs. The sense organs, the organs of knowledge, belong to the invisible subtle body. The sense instruments, the golokam, are in the perishable, the perceivable and perishable gross body. So we are saying here that we have all these 5 elements, and all of them, they have different properties, being the denser one, the one richer with more properties. And due to the development of these 5 sense or 5 these 5 elements, Ishvara immediately has developed the 5 sense organs. Okay, so it's interesting to look into the fact that every creature, or most creatures that we know, at least the how you say mammiferous? How you say the
mammals? Are you trying to say?
Huh?
Are you trying to say mammals? I'm not
mammals.
sure.
Yeah, I was not sure. I was guessing
Mammals,
it was
yeah.
that the word. So the mammals, they all seem to have a similar sense organs, such as ourselves, but some can hear more, some can smell more, you know? And some see in the darkness, but does not see when there is light. No? So there are all kinds of variations of these sense organs. But overall, we all have them, and but our focus here is on the jiva, yeah? The jivas, human jivas, mean to say. So these 5 properties are cognized by the 5 sense organs. These organs belong to the subtle body, which is invisible, but they interact with the world through its instruments of perception, and instruments of actions, instruments of perception. They are in the physical body, the visible, perceivable physical body, whereas the sense organs belong to the invisible subtle body. Have you all understood this distinction? I guess so. Huh? We are all long-term students of Vedanta. All the elements have properties. As we know, the properties are the objects of the sense organs. So how interesting this statement? The sense organs cannot capture the object itself. It can capture the properties of object. For example, here I'm looking outside, there are some plants. Some plants, they have the brownish color of the branch and the trunk. And then there are a lot of green leaves and some white flowers I'm seeing here, okay? So what I'm seeing here, I'm seeing the color and the form, okay? The color and the shape. So the color and shape, and then I don't experience directly these objects. Directly, I'm experiencing the properties of the objects, color, and if I come very close, I will see if the flower has perfume or not, and so on. So we experience the properties of the objects, and then how we're going to experience the plant itself. Yeah? So who experiences the plant if the organs, the properties of the 5 elements are the objects of the sense organs? The sense organs are going to capture only the properties of the elements, of the object, you know? So some objects, like this plant, it has color, but from a distance, I can see only color, and I cannot get the smell, and it does not, it does any noise, it does not have any sound to it, it has attached to it. So, but when I look, I'm looking at these properties. So what is really experiencing this plant rather than just the properties of the plants? So it is the sixth sense that sometimes the mind is present. The mind is going to integrate these properties that are perceived by the sense organs, and then it's going to bring them together and experience, it is a plant. And I want to know this plant, I want to smell its nose, I want to see if it's a medicinal plant and so on. So, but fundamentally, these sense organs are going to experience the properties of any object, meaning to say, the elements are there, and we're going to capture the properties. We do not see the object. We do not see the object by the sense organs, not even the mind, not even the eyes can see the object. How amazing it is. Because we're going to see the color of the object. We're going to see the form, the shape of the object. But we don't see the object called the tree or the plant. We do not see the object. We see the properties. We see the color, for example, of the object. On another example, you never see the chair. We see the wood, if it is a wooden chair. And then we see the shape, the form. And then what we do? We attribute name to the form. So we see the properties, and then we see the limitation of this property, being the property which is denser, which is the earth's property, the solid matter aspect of the plant or the chair. Then I see the surround, the edge, then I see the shape. So I see the properties, I see the form, and then I attribute a name, and then I see the chair, I see the plant. Now I have put together the form, color, and shape of something, and I have called that something, which serves the purpose of this or that. Names, colors, and forms. This is all properly integrated by the mind. The organs, they just provide the data, and the mind is going to put that into a perception of object. You don't see the chair, you see the shape and the color and the substance, meaning wood, but you do not really see the chair. And if you go close enough and you try to touch the chair, guess what? You cannot touch the chair because the chair does not exist. The chair is just a name and a form. You are never going to touch the chair. You're going to touch what? Wood. Isn't it amazing? You never touch a chair. You got to get a feel of the texture of the wood, never a texture of the chair. Sense organs perceive only the properties of the object, right? And then the mind is going to take those extractions of data, sensory data, and make it knowledge. So what is the knowledge? So this is a chair. That's why the sense organs often is present as not only organs of experience, but organs of knowledge, because of the mind that integrates the sensory perceptions into knowledge. No sense organ perceives a substance, an existent object. human beings can never know objects. You cannot infer a chair because inference is based on perception. So this is a radical statement here. Human beings can never know objects. So we know by conscience that a certain shape that serves a certain purpose. We have to be careful because a certain shape that serves a certain purpose. And if it is a chair, it should never be a paper chair or cardboard chair, because a cardboard chair is not going to really do the job or serve the purpose of something where we can sit on. But generally speaking, here it says human beings can never know objects. So the mind can know, the sense organs can know. You cannot even infer a chair because inference is based on perception. The perception belongs to the sense organs. And the sense organs are going to give me all the data that allows me to infer that this is a chair. You understand? So you cannot know the substance with the sense. Yes. The sense organs are never going to understand the substance. Is going to understand the properties of the substance. The same way the sense organ is never going to see the element, if it is a solid element, it has a lot of earth element to it combined with the other elements. So we'll never see clearly the element there. Why? Because the sense organs were developed from the properties of the elements, not from the elements itself, okay? So because the element earth is not an element, if you say, oh, it's an element earth, it's a solid matter element earth, so I know the property. No, there are 5 properties, you understand? There are 5 properties involved. So I cannot really know only simply by capturing the substance. You understand? So because there are many more properties, if I look for the substance, and then I cannot really capture all the properties involved in that substance. You cannot infer a chair because inference is based on perception. So you cannot know the substance with the sense. You can know the substance with the mind, which is going to infer that this set of different properties in that shape, this set of this substance, constitute a certain substance, for example, by consensus. Nobody knows for sure that wood is a wood. We know that wood is a solid material element with certain texture. But by consensus, we know that this is wood, it comes from the trees. You can only know the substance. Then the text here jumps into the most fundamental substance, because before we talk about the substance of the elements. Now it jumps and says, you cannot know the substance of everything of the universe with the sense. And that is an absolute statement. We can never know the fundamental essence or substance of the universe with the sense. We can only know the essential nature of the substance as consciousness, because the essential nature of everything is reduced to substance. It is reduced to consciousness itself. Everything, when we look and analyze, even from the scientific method of looking deeper into the nucleus and the atoms and the subatomic structure of matter, and then we come at the end to space, nature, Science never goes beyond space. Huh? So we from Vedanta, we know the fundamental substance or the essential nature of all substance is consciousness itself. And this knowledge cannot be gained by the sense. And this understanding of the essential nature of everything as consciousness cannot be known by the mind. It can only be known by what? By a special Vedanta Pramana, which is going to analyze the relationship between the name, the form, and the properties of an object in reference to consciousness. So this is an analysis of the elements, the properties of elements, and then it's going to be put together as a form, and that form is going to get a name. That form, name, substance is going to become an object, and that has to be understood in the relationship with consciousness. An object is only a name and a form. So an object, what is an object? It is a manifestation of Maya through the 5 elements. And then this substance, whatsoever it is, if it's just dirt, water, or if it's fire, or it is a more complex organism, anything that is a constitution of Maya. Where I am. Can only, everything that is a constitution of these 5 elements, they are ultimately made into a name and a form, okay? So the sense organs are going to capture the properties. The properties are going to be known by conscience to be a certain name, associate a certain form, associate with a certain name, which gives us a certain not property, a certain how you say, service, not service, escaped me the word. Properties, let's say. Okay, we know a chair serves for this, a plate serves for that, a cup serves for drinking, everything is going to purpose, okay, a certain purpose. Thank you, Sim. So by Vedanta Pramana, we're going to analyze, and then we're going to understand the fundamental nature of every object. The object is fundamentally a name and a form. Or we can say yes. So before we add a form and a name and a property or purpose to any object, we cannot say that I have experienced the object. We can say that I have experienced certain properties, but never the object. We have to attribute to that shape, to that form, a name and a purpose or property. So how do we know that we have sense organs? Because we can never see the sense organ as we know. Have we ever seen our minds? Elizabeth is the oldest here. Maybe she already had enough time to see her mind. No, I mean, no matter how long we live, we are never going to see our mind. And then the sense organs, they reside in the subtle body, in the mind. And how we know that there is such a thing as a sense organ? We know that there are some instruments of sense instruments of perception, but organs of perception, organs of knowledge, which belongs to the invisible mind. So how we know that? We can never see them. We only see the instruments, the Golaka. The organs are known inferentially. And inference is a super valid means of knowledge. In fact, most scientific knowledge is based on inference, which is in turn known by perception. You understand? It's perception, a sum of several perceptions are going to allow us to infer certain effects to its cause. Huh? We can never see the sense organ, only see the sense instruments, the golokam. The organs are known inferentially. And here is the reasoning. If we have 5 types of sensory experiences, we have 5 types of sensory experience. We hear, we see, we smell, we taste, we touch. Huh? We know that we have those experiences. Huh? If we have 5 types of sensory experience, they must be produced by their relevant or respective instruments. Okay? So we have the experience. The objects are there and they have properties. They appear to have properties, and we know that the creation is a combination of the 5 elements. And then it begins, bringing about objects, and then these elements are going to develop or bring about in the mind of Ishvara the organs of perception, of experience, of knowledge. Huh? So we can never see these organs. These organs are known inferentially. And if we have 5 types of sensory experience, we have 5, they must be produced by their own instruments, by themselves. They should be produced by them, because the objects itself, they have properties, but they don't produce experience or knowledge. You follow? The objects are there. Every object has their own properties, but yet there is no way an object alone can produce experience/knowledge. So where is this experience? These 5 levels of experience, 5 types of sensory experience.
And I have to leave now. I'm sorry.
No problem. Okay. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you, Elizabeth. Bye-bye. See you next time.
See you.
We have 5 types of sensory experience. They must be produced by their own instruments, because this experience, the objects themselves do not produce experience. The contact between the object, which is experienced and known by its properties, with an instrument of perception, instrument of knowledge, an instrument of experience, brings about experience knowledge. So we need an instrument. So these 5 types of sensory experience must be produced by the instruments itself. The object that the sense organ produce is just the property of the organ itself. The object, we produce the object because we get the properties of the object, and then we're going to produce, by this property, we're going to produce the object through the power of mind, okay? So the sense organs is produce the object that the sense organ produces is just the property of the organ itself. It's the organ that is producing the object. The organ is not producing the properties. The properties are inherent to the object, to the element, okay? The sense organs receives the properties, and then it's going to produce the object. The production of the object is done by the sense organ. In other words, it's the mind that's going to produce the object. And this is an inferential knowledge, okay? I see the properties of only a certain object, and then I infer it to be a plant. I infer it to be a chair, and so on. The organ is the cause, and the experience is the effect. So how about that? It's very clear now, huh? Because although the properties of the objects are the cause and the sense organs are the effect, the sense organs becomes the cause and the object becomes an effect of the sense organs, because it's the sense organs that are going to produce the object. In other words, the mind is going to infer those perceptions. It's going to infer those properties and make it into an object. The organ is the cause, and the experience of the object is the effect. One sense organ cannot produce 5 independent experiences, and we know that. So the organ is the cause, the experience is an effect, but if we lose one of our sense organs, let's say the eyes, the vision, which is said to be the most important, because by the vision, we get not only the shape, the forms, but we get the colors of the universe. You see? Colors and forms received by eyes through our vision, our eyes. So if we lose one sense organ, and then of course, I am limited in what I can experience and know, right? And here it says that one sense organ alone cannot produce 5 independent experiences. So if I have only the eyes, I cannot enjoy beautiful music. I cannot really enjoy a nice meal, vegetarian meal with tofu. So I cannot really enjoy, the flavor and the music and many other aspects, the texture and so on, and the smell, of course. A blind person can smell, taste, touch, and hear. The world is known by the sense organs, but the property of the world is known by the sense organs, but the sense organs are not known by the world. The world is known, the properties of the world is known by the sense organ. The world is known by the mind. I'm sorry if I'm doing some editing here, but it's to make it more clear. The world is known, the property of the world, of the objects, is known by the sense organs. And the sense organs are not known by the world. So of course, the world will never know the sense organs, because the sense organs are very subtle. Is that by which we can perceive and know the world. So the objects are going to be perceived by the mind. The sense organs are extroverted in nature. Usually they are all turned outward, as we know, because we all come here, and the design was we all should be here to experience the world and to learn something from this. So, and then of course our channels by which we interact with the world turned outside. And that is a big issue, because it comes to a point that we get so tired of experiencing the world out there, because we can't really get satisfaction from that. And still our mind got into the habit of extroversion, and we don't know how to, to shut, to close, and just trying to get to know something else, which is not from the world of object. Okay, just to wrap it up, the sense organs are extrovert. They generally operate outside the body, but at certain times, the sense organs perceive within the body, because the body is not separate from the 5 elements. So the body itself inside is still integral part of the material world, meaning to say this huge, 5 elements put together with infinite configurations of different object elements. So they are generally operating outside the body, but at certain time, the sense organs perceive also within the body. And there we go. A lot of spiritual people start just shutting all the sense, and then they start moving inwards, as it's said, and then they start seeing things, hearing things, and it's not only the bad digestion. They start really going into subtle visions, and they may hear music and so on. So in certain times and circumstances, the sense organs are going to perceive within the physical body and even within the subtle body, because the body itself is matter and it's not separate from the 5 elements. What it means to say that the body as well has matter, and this matter has properties on their own, and these properties can be captured by the sense organ, okay, which belongs to the mind, which has the ability to feel and perceive and know the properties of the world outside and the world within. So more of this we're going to look into next week, because our body is but the 5 elements. Our body is just matter. From the ground of matter we come, and to the ground of matter we go back. From the elements we come, and we're going to go back to the elements. So of course, I'm referring to the physical material aspect of our human experience. Material, physical. Okay? I'm going to try to, Okay, so we meet again soon, Ishwara willing, and if you guys show up, if you don't show up, it's okay. And we carry on, and thank you. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, my dear friends. We meet again. Namaste.
Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.